Hello, I'm Robert Gregson, and I've put a series of videos on here to explain to the first time beginner playing keyboards what keyboards to buy and how to set it all up, how to learn music and timing and all these things. So please refer to my other videos before you go on to this one, because this is all about some of the buttons that are on your keyboards and you probably won't know what they all mean, so I'm going to explain it to you. So today we're looking at these buttons here. And we're going to start with a thing called the fill-in button. Now if you've looked at my other videos, you'll know you have to put the rhythm on and play chords. You'll explain that on the other videos. First of all, you've got a basic stop and start beat. We'll just do it on that for now. And when you add a fill-in button, it adds a few more little beats to it when you do the chord. So we'll do 1 is short, a little bit there, and 2 is longer. You just got that, and if you press it on the red light, you get the 1 is a short, or you can let it go on the red light again to get the full beat. Now if I show you on a different beat, just to give you some idea what that's all about. So we're just going to go on to a front beat, so you can hear it better now. 1 is short, or you can have a longer one. So as you can see, that's a lot more livelier and it gives you a better idea. So where's the best time to use the fill-in button? There's quite a few places you can use the fill-in button to start with. Sometimes in the music you'll just see the word fill-in and that's where you press it. But you can use it at the beginning of any of the bars. So if you decide that halfway, say you play your verse and then just as you get into the chorus, you decide you want to press the fill-in button, add a few more beats to jazz things up and make things better. Now, this song here is actually called Vincent. So obviously I'm going to slow it right down to just give you an idea. And the other way to use fill-in buttons is turning pages over. And what you'll find, the bit before I just said, if you press the fill-in button, say when you played your verse and you're coming into the chorus, press the fill-in button, then play your chorus, it adds a bit more. But also, if you make a mistake. So say you're playing any song and you get halfway through the bar, the end of the one bar, and you know you've gone off with your timing's gone off, and you know when you start the next bar you're going to be out of time. Press your fill-in button. Listen to the fill-in go, and as soon as the fill-in stops, carry on playing, and you're now back in time. Because it will automatically put it back into time for you. Now this song is called Vincent and it's a slow song, and the other way to use a fill-in button is to turn pages over. What I do is I tend to start with it, miss out that first chord, but put it in later when you've learnt the rest. Memorise the first bar, or sometimes you can do it with the first line, but remember the notes in the first bar. And I'm going to talk you through this and then I'm going to actually do it for you. So if we're looking down here at the buttons, what I'm actually going to do is the beat is going to go on and I'm going to play that first part, the last part of that music, and when I get to the end of that, I'm going to then wait till this red light down here comes on. Press the fill-in button with the left hand. You press the fill-in button when the red light comes on. With the same hand you then turn the page over slowly like that, and as you're doing it, with your right hand you're actually playing those notes there. So as you're in the middle of doing this, your right hand is going, and then you go straight back to the next chord along. So when you turn the page over, you're looking at the next bar, you're missing out that first bar because you're going to play it as you turn the page over. So I talk you through it one more time. The rhythm's going down here, it will be in a minute, I'll show you. And as soon as you play the last note on that page, you wait for the red light, and with your left hand press your fill-in button, and then with your right hand play the notes you've memorised on the other page and turn this page over, and then come straight back with this hand onto the new chord for the next bar, which will be the E minor in this case. So, and you'll find you'll be in time. So here we go, we'll just do it on this. Left hand, carry on. So we're going to film down here now. Left hand. Carry on playing. Back down. So it's a bit tricky. So let's just go through it one more time so you know. I was playing away. As soon as I get to the end of my first bit of music, you've folded the page over, and as soon as you see the red light come on, your left hand then presses your filling button, and with the same left hand you start to turn the page over, and as you're doing that your right hand is playing those notes that you memorised on the other page. So then you turn your page over and you go straight into the next bar, and this hand then goes down onto the next chord and you carry on playing, and by the time you've done that the fillings come in and you're in time for the next part. And that's how you can learn about filling buttons. So also at the beginning of any bar, if you want to like do that front one or something, if you want to press it anytime, it'll just give you that little bit more fun and a bit more going on. So that's your filling button. You now have a thing called synchronized start. Let's do for synchronized start. This is a break button as well. Synchronized start is handy for the beginner, and I would definitely recommend it. If you're good at timing, you'll find you can just switch on the beat and you'll get straight into your time. So let me just change the beat a little bit. I'm just going to go back into the front one for easier. So if you know how to play, if I was doing something a bit daft. Now there you see I press the filling button to show you what you get. Now this synchronized start is good for the beginner. When you start playing, if you're good at timing, you can get the red light straight away. The first note in the bar should always be on the red light. But that's if you know your timing. But if you don't know your timing and you can't get in time to start with, this is where the synchronize button comes in. Press the synchronize and the red light will start flashing. And basically, until you put your chord down and your first note, nothing will happen. So the first note there is a B, for example. So I'm going to go to a G chord and I'm going to play the B. Play them both at the same time and the beat will start. And you're always going to be on that red light. And so it'll start on that red light, so obviously you'll be in time for the whole thing. Now obviously that was a funk beat with the wrong song, but you know what I mean. You'll get the idea. If it's on synchronized start, whatever your tune is, whatever beat you're playing on, you'll always start on a red light, so you'll be in time. Okay, so that's your synchronized start. This is also a break as well. And break just basically means when you're playing it, you're playing your song, you're doing your chords, you're playing your melody, you hear that going bum bum bum. When you press break, it'll stop. It'll just pause for a second and then it'll start again. So it just gives you another little effect. If you just want somebody to clap or to just go hey or something like that in that little section, you've got that little bit of a gap, and then you just press break while it's actually running and it will do that for you. Now we've also got a thing called intros and endings, and you'll see this on quite a lot of things. If we just zoom in and show this on here, intros and endings, and that is what it means. If you play, the first one's always short, the second one's longer, and again I'm just on this funk beat just for now to give you a better example. You can hear it better on this funk beat than you can on the others. It gives you a beginning before you play the tune. So as soon as you start your beat, press your chord straight away and it's going to start doing a little bit. You can see that nice little bit at the beginning. Now that's a shorter one, so we'll do the longer one. Play your chord. And when that light goes off, that's when you start playing. That's a longer one, this. 3, 4, go, off you go. So that gives you beginning and end. Now it says intro and endings. Now it doesn't mean, even though intro is above 1 and endings is above 2, it doesn't mean that 1 is an intro and 2 is an ending. It actually means both are intros. One's a short one, the second one's a longer one. But they're also both endings as well. So endings is the opposite. You've had those that start you off. So this time when you're actually playing, that's the ending, and now you've got a fancy ending to finish on. Obviously that was halfway through the tune. And you can just finish it off any way you like. So that gives you a professional ending, a longer ending and a shorter ending. So when they're numbered, anything that's 1, 2, 3, 4 on your buttons, 1 is short, 2 is longer, 3 is longer, and so on. You can have quite a few of those, but basically they have 2, but some have more. So looking down here now, we've explained your start-stop button on your beat, which switches the rhythm on and off. We've explained the synchronise button, which keeps you in time when you start off your music. And we've explained the break, which gives you, when you're playing, you press it, it gives you a pause for a few seconds. We've explained the intros and endings, and I've explained the fill-ins. Now you've got fading in and fading out. We'll just show you on fading out. And basically, start your beat, you play your song. This is the fading out. And it will fade out. The whole keyboard will fade out, and then it will come back afterwards. But the whole thing fades out, and the fading in is the same thing, only it's the other way around. It'll be nothing to start with, and then it'll come in. Most people just use the fade out. Now the other button you've got on here, you might see your tempo speed buttons. If we look down here again, on this particular model you've got a little whirligig here that just goes backwards and forwards, and it adjusts the tempo, and you can see it going up and down on your screen. As I will show you here, that's going up, that's going down. Or you can have little buttons like the fading in button with a plus and a minus, and plus speeds things up, minus slows things down. But this tap tempo is something a little bit different. You tap to the beat, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4. You might think nothing's happened until you press your beat. Now that's going at that speed that you tapped it at. So we do it slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, then start it. Now your beat coming in slower at the speed I went before. So that's just another way of setting up your tempo. So that explains these things. Now we have a thing called Music Arranger, which is over here. If we have a look at this. This basically works in does quite a few different things, and there's a few little rules you have to look out for. Rule number 1, look at this line here. You can see that little line. It's actually saying that button controls all these buttons here. Now you'll find that on keyboards and organs all along, you might have on an organ, you might have the flute section and have a little line, and it might be in white because the buttons on for a flute are white, and it might be a green light for for reeds and things like that. If you see that, it means that that little section is like a bracket saying that is working that little area. So, and most of them are colour coded and things, but on here we just have this section here. So it's saying that that button works these buttons. Now it does quite a few different things. Basically what you do, number 1, with this switched off, it's just basically going to build up the sound. So we're doing a song, and it could be fairly gentle. See, that's fairly straightforward. We'll speed up a little bit, even though we're still on the front beat. Now you could be playing away, and then you suddenly want to liven it up, so press 2. And it's suddenly, there's a bit more coming in. And as you're playing along and you're getting a bit better, you press 3. Now you've got a bit more coming in, it's getting livelier now. Then you press number 4, and you've got everything going in, it's a really big sound. Now that's all very well, because you can have a lot of fun with that. And you can go up and down on these, so you can have it really fast and loud 1 minute, and then suddenly go gentle on the 1, and you're still playing away, and you can vary it with different things. And that's basically what it does this for all the different rhythms. There are 4 different sections, and 1 is a sort of steady beat, 2 is a bit more, 3 is a bit more, and 4 is a bit more. Now, bearing that in mind, there's a few little rules that we have to follow. Now, let's just supposing you've got the Music Arranger on, or if you've got any of these on. Let's just go into this, just try something. No. So you put the Music Arranger on, He's not really doing, yeah, he's absolutely right. Okay. So, basically what I did then is when you're just playing away on the straight 4 different sounds which I've just showed you, that's all very well, but now we have a few little rules we have to follow. This music arranger is special. It basically sets up a sound for what it thinks you should be playing those songs on. If you're not sure on what sound to put with a song, you pick your rhythm. So we've got funk now. So the first one is sort of a nice little sing sound. Number 2 will change. So a bit of a guitar, big electric guitar thing going on. Somebody got trumpets. So each one is different depending on what beat you've got on when your music arranger is on. Now, as I said, there's some rules you need to follow here. If you go through each one, when you pick your beat, go through each one. So you might go, you might like that, you might like that, you might think that's a bit too much. Pick the one you want, or you can change it as you go along. It will change the sound that you're playing if you build them up one by one like we did before. But if you like this one, say you like that one, take your music arranger off, and that sound will stay on no matter which one you play. But it will still build up with the left hand. You'll still get that bigger and bigger sound, but that one sound will stay for the whole tune. But if you have that on, the sound will change. You'll get all these other sounds coming in. Now, this is all very well, as long as you remember that the sound, that's your first rule, remember that there's a different sound for each one when the music arranger's on. But the second rule, and that's the most important rule of all, is it's linked to your filling button number 2. Not filling button number 1, it's for filling button number 2. And what it will actually do, if you're playing away, and you've got your music arranger on, and then, as we said before, you press the filling button somewhere in your music to liven things up. If you press 2, that changes. It's now jumped to 2. And if you press 2 again, it's now going to go to 3. And if you press it again, it will now go to 4. So basically what that's actually saying is, if you want to build it up as you're playing away, you can actually play it, you can actually go, when I put that on, you build it up like that, or you can press fill in 2 and it will do it for you. Press fill in 2. So just bear in mind that when you press fill in 2, this music arranger will go up another notch. And when it gets to 4, it will go back to 1 again. So if you're doing fill in, if you've got your music arranger on, bear that in mind, because you might quite like setting 3, for example. You might want to just play the whole tune on 3. But as soon as you press fill in button, it will change it, and that can throw you off a little bit. So if you're happy with, say you're happy with 3, take your music arranger off if you're going to be pressing your filling buttons. And then it won't affect it, and it will stay on 3 on that particular setting that you want, and it won't go up to the next level until you actually press the button up to move it up yourself. So that is basically how the music arranger works. And a couple of other little buttons on here which they're always explained in your music tutor books, but for now these are just your basic buttons that people need to know about. So I hope it helps somebody, and please leave your comments, because I'd like to see lots of comments to see where we're going with this, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye bye.